Hey there. If you're thinking about getting out there on the road with the big rigs and driving a rig, an RV, or even a bus, then have we got great news for you.
Southwest Truck Driver Training can get you trained and rolling in as little as 4 weeks. They offer lifetime job placement support. They have special military programs, a financial aid program, including grant applications, and so much more to offer you.
Plus, they're family-owned business right here in the Southwest. They have world-class training for Class A and B CDLs, hazmat endorsement training, RV training, and, of course, a refresher course if you need one. And did we mention they have 3 locations, which are Phoenix, Tucson, and North Las Vegas?
So we don't know why you're sitting there channel surfing on a TV when you could be learning to drive and roll down the road to earning a great living today.
Go to their website, swtdt.com, to learn more about Southwest Truck Driver Training to shift your career into high gear.
Tell them you heard about them on the 18 Wheel Talk podcast show. We love them. You will too.
Break 19 for radio check.
18 Wheels.
Welcome to the 18 Wheel Talk podcast show.
We're a podcast for truckers, about truckers, by truckers.
Coaching generations of drivers while guiding them on their path to success.
Fueling them with knowledge and passion for trucking.
Navigating the industry 1 mile at a time.
Spark the revolution.
All right, I got my jitters out, I think. All right, let me do a couple of things here. And welcome to the 18 Wheel Talk podcast show. Today is an exciting day because we finally got Hope Zvara from Mother Truckin' Yoga to join us on our show. We're going to talk health and fitness.
I'm so excited to have her here today.
Welcome, Hope.
Welcome.
Hello, Janet and Patrick and listeners.
Yes.
I am so stoked to be on the show today. There was already a lot of energy going on before we hit record.
Yes,
so I think this is going to be a great time.
Hey, don't mind our primitive studios.
I love it.
Anyways, Hope, welcome to the show. Janet, do you want to start with the questions? Do you want me to start? How do you want to do it?
I had a malfunction.
You had a malfunction. Where did you go?
Oh, there
you
I
are.
Of course, I started with
all have malfunctions in life, so
I'm usually IT, but I can't fix her problems.
I'm like, I don't even know how that came. Our business card took over my screensaver. I'm like, wow.
Oh, there's one for the blooper reels. Woohoo!
Well, I have one big question to start with, and it's, I'm all big about learning and everything. And you've been going to school for like 20 years. And I want to know, what's the best thing you've learned in that 20 years?
Yeah, well, first I have to say, school, not in the sense that some of you might be thinking. I'm a college dropout. I went to college for a year, did that thing, and realized that was not for me.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, and at the time, I was struggling with addiction and anxiety and depression, and just wasn't finding the help that I was looking for, and had been just starting to practice some yoga. And I was finding that it was really helping me mentally as well as physically. And when I dropped out of college, I was like, hey, I'm going to go take a yoga teacher training, and did that and found that that could really be a path for me personally, but also professionally. I found I was good at it. I really enjoyed it. It gave me kind of a place where I could be myself. And just like many of you listening, it's really hard when you feel like you have to be someone that you're not,
right,
or that be someone for someone else, or they won't hire you or approve of you or like you or whatever it is. And I was really struggling with that at that time in my life. And that 20 years you were talking about was really me not only learning how to live again and get into recovery, which I've been in for about 15 years now.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was also me learning about the body. Like, I didn't realize when I first started teaching yoga that I could hurt people. Like, I could actually hurt somebody. And I recognized how many people are out there teaching fitness, especially in today's world with Instagram and TikTok and all this stuff. People just can wake up and decide, hey, I'm going to be a fitness expert because I took a weekend class.
Yep.
I have been studying health and fitness and biomechanics, which is how the body moves,
Right.
functional anatomy, all that stuff for 20 years. I have hundreds of thousands of hours put into training, certification, studying. And the number one thing I've discovered is that we're complicating fitness way too much in today's world. Even today, these big elaborate programs, this 5-day cleanse, and then people go back to their old lives, all this. For me, it's all about small, simple changes.
Right.
And that's really how I got into recovery. Was I kept trying to wake up the next day and be healed. For those of you that are listening, I'm quoting my fingers, be healed. And it just wasn't working. And then I saw that people were doing the same thing when it came to their health and fitness without an addiction. And so I started to approach yoga and movement and this whole kind of fitness aspect with just little bite-sized pieces. Like, I would rather have a driver do a stretch or two in bed before they get up, and then maybe remember to do an extra twist when they're buckling their seatbelt, or doing a stretch when they're filling up with fuel that looks like they're tying their shoes, and do that every day. Maybe it's a cumulative of 5 minutes.
I like how you said that.
Yeah.
I like how you said it. Pretend like you're tying your shoes.
Yeah, versus
Pretend
being
like
like
you're reaching for
I gotta go to
something.
the gym.
Yeah, no. And that's what I like about you, that we found in your research. I actually got your 11 your download, your 11 stretches that you can do.
Look at they're showing that. If you guys can't see it, but they're showing the download.
I'm horrible at showing things on camera.
Yeah, I actually, I have a day job, and my day job, I do a lot of standing. So we both recovered from COVID last year, November. And ever since then, I've had aches and pains in my body that I had maybe years ago that were from broken bones and stuff like that. And now it's age related, that my hips have been hurting, my knees have been hurting. And ever since I got your 11 stretches, I've been trying, little here, little there, and I'm like going, I find that I have better movement throughout the day.
He's been doing the hips especially.
Just a little, and I agree with you. It takes that one little, I call them baby steps.
Yep.
If you take that one baby step leads to 2, leads to 3, leads to, eventually she's in physical therapy right now. And I told her, I said, eventually it's going to get easier.
Well, and the ironic part is as a truck driver and ex-military and ex-restaurant, being 15 to 20 years in high heels in management, my back, when I started hurting post-COVID, my doctor said, you have the back of an 85-year-old man who worked hard all his life. Thank you.
Oh, awesome. I said, hey, Hope's going to help you.
Badge of honor?
Yeah, right. You're gonna get a big
no,
star.
but my dad predicted it. So then they put me through this. It's called RFA, radio frequency ablation. I did that on my lower back, and then they said, "Well, you're going to go to physical therapy." So then we downloaded your stretches, and I'm like, "Oh, I do this, and I do this one, and I do this one. I do these in physical therapy." And my computer's going nuts today. Anyway, I do these in physical therapy, and it's like a lot of them. I'm like, well, I recognize a lot of these, but there's some I can't do because of my injuries. And it's like, well, I didn't know I had these injuries until I had COVID.
It's baby steps.
But like you said, it's all baby steps.
I definitely like the way you explained it, though. Pretend you're tying your shoe.
Yeah.
Pretend you're reaching for something. It doesn't have to look pretty. You just have to make it feel. You got to be able to feel it.
Yeah,
and something that you said, Janet, that is something I preach all the time. It's about mobility. That as we age, I used to work in a nursing home teaching yoga, and so I got to work with people all the way into their 90s. And one of the things I recognized working with these men and women is they would give anything to be mobile, to be able to reach up on their own, get out of their own wheelchair, put on their own clothes. Mobility equals independence. Yeah. And a lot of times in the fitness world, we're hyper focused on strength or we're hyper focused on flexibility. Mobility is the combination of those plus balance. And so this idea of stretching up overhead or bending down and just kind of funneling with your shoelaces like you're touching your toes or putting on your shoe while you're filling up with fuel. Nobody knows what you're doing, but you're releasing your lower back, you're releasing your hamstrings, you're allowing your hips to move more freely. Like all of these little things sprinkled throughout the day is really how we stay healthy and fit. And we're still trying to sell truck driver, school teacher, plumber, I don't care who it is, we're still trying to sell the package of fitness and health like this extra thing. Like, oh, I have to set aside time to go to the gym.
No.
Oh, I have to make sure I have a kettlebell. And what I'm trying to say is this is about you being more mobile and active in your everyday life. And as a truck driver, the response I often get is, well, I don't have a lot of time. Well,
I don't have time. Yeah.
I beg to differ. I beg to differ. You may be moving all the time, but you have time. And so that's where I'm teaching drivers things in the driver's seat. Everyone has a 30-minute mandatory break. How about you take 2 of those minutes and you do a little bit of stretching? Once you park for the night, you can't go nowhere.
Exactly.
So how about a couple of laps around your truck? When you're doing your pre-trip check in the morning, add 1 or 2 extra laps, because 32 laps around your truck and trailer is a mile. I'm not saying walk 32 laps, but if it only takes you 1 or 2 or 3 in the morning, why not do 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would have
All
loved my
that
dad.
adds up. It all adds up. The cool thing is that no one can take away the little things that you do. It's kind of like if you're trying to improve eating and you still have the Big Mac, I always just say eat the dang salad, because the Big Mac's not going to cancel out the salad. It doesn't work that way.
It
like
doesn't.
You're still going to get the nutrition.
Oh,
you're
man.
maybe not eating that whole thing, but you're still getting nutrition. Or drink the water bottle, have the soda. I'd be a hypocrite if I say never drink soda again. But how about 1 bottle of water before the soda? After a while, your body's going to naturally crave that soda less.
Right.
And you're going to have so many other benefits. So it's all about small, simple changes. It's all about consistency. It's all about integrating things and movement into your life.
Exactly. I totally agree with you 100%, because that's what I do. I pretend I'm tying my shoes at work.
And you have Velcro ones. It's like,
exactly. I got
was there.
I'm adjusting my pant leg. It was up against the Velcro. It was driving me nuts.
I love it.
It's a short drive, but it's okay.
I love it.
So I have a question for you now. How did you come up with the Mother Truck and Pain Relief Cream? I know it's kind of like a 2-part question, because I know that, as an ex-truck driver, whenever I went to the doctor and she wanted to prescribe a medication for me, I'd be like, is this going to make me drowsy because I drive a truck? And so that was always on my mind. So when it came to pain relief and stuff like that, I was always leery of trying different products. And when we were reading about your product, I was like, I got to ask her. I got to say, how did she come up with this? Because it's
all natural.
It's all natural, and yet it should be DOT approved. It's one of those. How?
Well, I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 years, and I've always loved the creation of things. And so I have been dabbling in product creation, most of my entrepreneur journey, from making my own yoga bags and eye pillows and branding them and doing all that, to once I started Mother Trucker Yoga almost 6 years ago, I knew I wanted to help truck drivers in as many ways as possible, utilizing all my skill sets. And oh gosh, it was 2019, just before 2020. I started creating a pain relief cream, because in the yoga world, I was always using everyone else's pain relief cream, but I always had a disclaimer. This one's greasy. This one smells bad. This one's a chemical SHIT storm. Like, I like this one looks good, but like you got to reapply all the time. And I always said one day,
this one smells
I want to
pretty.
create my own. Yeah, it's too expensive. Like all this stuff.
Well, let me put gloves on, because I don't like the way it feels on my hands.
Yes.
That's why I'm like, how did you come up with this formula?
So I, along the way through all my studying, it's like I kind of started to collect information. Like, these are the things I would want to have in a pain relief cream. I am not a chemist, though. I'm not a formulator. I just knew the things that work, and I knew the things that help relieve inflammation, to help with mobility, help with nerve issues. Like, I knew all of these things. I had no idea how to combine them together. I was at a conference on the business side of life, and someone heard my business name and was like, oh my gosh, I love your company. Have you ever thought about a product? And at the same time, we both said a pain relief cream. And so, and so that was about, I know, right? It was about a year of trial and testing. We did about 10 different rounds of product formulation because I didn't like the consistency. It was too watery. It smelled bad. It was too cakey. And I wanted a certain type of ingredients in there. And part of my thing was it had to have no synthetics, no dyes, no parabens, no nothing, because I have skin allergies. And so I was like, I want something, and it has to be made in America. That was the other big thing. Our manufacturers in Arizona.
Awesome.
Yes. Oh, yeah, you guys are in Arizona. I love it.
Score one.
And we finally hit a home run, did a bunch of trials with some drivers to see what they thought about it. And then I started going door to door, literally asking truck stops and travel centers and media if they would review the product and just see what they think. And the reviews kept coming back. Like, people were like, wow, this stuff is really good. It really works. It's not greasy. Like, the sensation lasts for a really long time. I actually have increased mobility. And the reason behind that is a big part of our product. We use caspicum, which is a pepper extract, and it creates rapid blood flow. Mm-hmm. So part of the reason why people have chronic pain is because there's lack of mobility, which creates inflammation. And so we're trying to reduce inflammation really quickly to enhance mobility. And so, yes, there's some, like a nerve desensitizing. If you're familiar with like Icy Hot or Bengay, they have 1 to 2 active ingredients, and one of them being menthol, and it's usually at a 10% level. Mm-hmm. So they're numbing, but nothing's really happening beyond that.
Right. Yeah.
And so what we have is 6 active ingredients. And so we're trying to penetrate deeper than just the nerve desensitization.
Right.
And then after I created Stiff Mother Trucker, and doing that for about, 2 years through COVID, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say that was through the COVID years.
Yes. I recognized a few things. One was people loved our product, but some people did not like the name. And 2, I needed a bigger product line. I know. All right. I like puns.
Listen,
so, I know.
It works though. It works with your name. Your Mother Trucker Yoga. It's Stiff Mother Trucker. You're a truck driver who has stiff joints. To me, I love it.
I know. Me too. So we actually 6 months ago decided, in order to move into some other retailers that we wanted to, we actually rebranded to Road Relief Wellness. Stiff Mother Trucker is our parent company, but that allowed us to expand our whole product line. We have now 14 different products, and we have several different versions of the pain relief cream. We have it as a cream. We have it as a roll-on now. And that's a cooling, and we have it as a warming balm. So you can roll it, you can put it on your skin, and it has a warming effect instead of a cooling effect. Nice. So now we have other variations, which is great.
Cool. That's very cool.
I missed that in my research.
Yeah.
Well, see, I did mention that. I did mention to her the other day that you had a product line coming out, and that we should talk about it. But I that's like further down the list.
No,
it's okay. It's all good.
So my big thing is, for me, I want to be able to help truck drivers in every capacity that I can when it comes to fitness and health.
Right.
A big part of that other piece is quality. There are so many people out there. Go on Amazon and you'll see it right away. That are selling crap products.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I feel like drivers are constantly overlooked, constantly underestimated. And you walk into a truck stop, no offense to any of the truck shop, the owners that are listening, a lot of the products are still crap.
Yeah.
It's because it's what's available. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so I wanted to create a product line where we could go into the wellness and grooming section and kind of own that space and know that this is a, small business with high quality products that they stand behind, that are made specifically for truck drivers. There's nothing out there
that is American made.
Made for drivers. And that is the one thing that I really wanted to accomplish. And I'm super excited that we're able to expand our line. We have an awesome trucker camel line, t-shirts, hats, water bottles.
I did see those.
Yeah, we saw those.
Yeah.
I was like, those look cool.
So they're super great. They're an awesome, one of our best sellers. We have mini travel massage guns. And so just really trying to check off all the boxes for drivers that they could walk into any truck stop and be like, man, I need to feel good, or I want to take my health back, or wow, I need to drink more water. There's a water bottle that could help me with that. And since they tend to live at a truck stop, I'm not saying all drivers do, but a big majority of them are, why not put them there so that they have access?
I get it. Yeah.
That makes total sense. And
so, aside from trying to create world domination,
hey, wait, hold on. I want world peace.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
If you don't have a dash cam in your semi and you went and spent all that money on it, do you really think that you and your truck are protected against John Q. Public? We don't. That is why we recommend Rexing USA cameras and equipment. Whatever it is you are looking for, whether it be a dash cam, a body cam, a trail cam, or similar, they probably have it.
Nearly every new vehicle coming out has a dash cam, and there is a reason for it: litigation. Yes, welcome to America, the land of litigation. So the best thing you can do is to protect what you own with video and pictures.
And their dash cams, boy, let me tell you, their cams do a lot. They have 170-degree ultra-wide angle lenses that will automatically lock in the last video if it feels a vibration from an accident. It has a supercapacitor battery backup that is better than lithium for extreme heat or cold. Add in loop recording, a mobile app, and parking monitoring, and more.
And yes, now you have a really great package for this company of cameras. So come on, check it out at 18wheeltalk.com/dashcam. That's 18wheeltalk.com/dashcam.
And mine's going to say world domination. So in a good way, though. We're going to be friendly in that.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
That's okay.
So I have
We'll let you.
So you have a lot of stats about truckers. Like 86% of truckers are obese. 13.6% of truckers suffer from depression, and 50% of truckers have back pain. And I was wondering, just where did you find all your stats on this?
oh gosh, we researched all of those. It's been a little while, and we try to update those annually. Anywhere from the American Diabetic Association to the CDC to ATA. I mean, we grabbed and we tried to compare statistics amongst all platforms.
And come up with an average.
And there was kind of an average. Some of them, it was the constant statistic, over and over again.
Okay.
But on average, between Australia's stats, the US stats, European stats,
Okay.
American Diabetic Association, again, like the CDC. There was a couple different trucker associations that we were looking at that collect stats. On average, it was like 86% of drivers are obese.
See,
And
I didn't know if you were looking.
remind you that we have a skewed perception on what we think is obese in
Yes.
America.
Yeah, I
So
was telling her
it's
that
like,
if I go through like any kind of chart that it says tell us how old you are and
Height
are you
and
male,
weight.
height, weight. I'm classified obese. I'm like, no,
Mhm.
I'm skinny fat. I was always told to protect the things I love, so I put a wall around my 6-pack abs.
Mhm. Well, and remember that when it comes to measuring, body fat and BMI, and obviously some ways to measure people say are outdated, and you need to do all these different things. Like, I don't want to get into that.
Right.
But if you are male, female, 25 to 30% over what your recommended body weight based on your height and all of this and your age, and again, you can go
Yeah.
into deeper statistics. That's not a lot. That's like 20 pounds
Yeah.
for some people, 25
Yeah.
pounds.
Yep.
And so when I mean we have a skewed perception on what that is, sometimes people hear that stat and they're like, oh my gosh, but the majority of Americans are walking around obese.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
That's the reality.
but that's the reason I ask is because, like, if you look, I've lived overseas, and if you look at, say, Americans compared to Europeans, we eat twice as much easily every meal that they do. Our perception of food is totally different here.
Our plate sizes are larger.
Our
Yep.
plate sizes are huge. Even if you look at, and we did a podcast about plate sizes. I don't remember the exact one, but in it, I was talking about food and perception and eating healthy. And if you look at plates like that I inherited from my grandparents and his great aunt, what we had as dinner plates in, say, the 40s and 50s that I inherited
Or now appetizer plates here.
Now our appetizer plates. It's amazing because what I use is a bread and butter plate. That's what came with the set. I use that as a dinner plate. And people look at me like, that's not a dinner plate. I'm like, well, it was before I was born. My grandma used it as a dinner plate. And a chicken breast, 4 ounces is a serving, but I have weighed chicken breasts that come, in a package. They're over a pound for a boneless, skinless chicken breast. I'm like, I've weighed some that are like 20 ounces for one chicken breast. I'm like, that's way too much food. I can feed 3 or 4 people on that.
I could eat that much in one sitting.
Not when I cook.
But you see what I mean, though?
Because I throw vegetables. But that's what I
people
was.
do that.
Yeah.
They feel like, oh my gosh, and I'm not trying to attack. I'm not trying to put down. I try to actually never focus on those stats because drivers know those stats. They know if they're healthy or not. As much as I hear sometimes from my drivers when I'm working with them, there's a little bit of resistance. And I think sometimes it's because they've never been given a solution that works for them. I mean, how frustrating to show up at your doctor and to be told that you're overweight. Well, no crap. I just looked in the mirror. I'm pretty sure I know that. Like, but
You just put me on your scale and it said fat.
but not to be given solutions that actually work for them. And that is like my mission for drivers. I believe it's the small, simple changes that lead to the big results. And I want drivers to know that I see them and I hear them, and that you should not have to be ashamed or put up this wall when it comes to wanting to take care of your health. Because the flip side of working with drivers now for 6 years is once in a while I come in contact with drivers that have this super hard exterior, like, oh, I don't need to take care of myself. I drink, 5 Mountain Dews a day and just smoke 12 cigarettes. And I'm like, how's that working for you? And they may say to me, oh, just fine. But it's like, are you really? Like, are you really as good as you could be? Well, I don't sleep that great. Well, I got gout. Like,
I'm guilty of the 5 Mountain Dews and 3 packs a day.
And so what if starting small?
Don't do it no more, but
starting small. And also the other piece is, so in our brain, when we're told that we can't have something, we actually hold on tighter. Yes. It's a proven fact that our brain, like the second someone says no or don't or can't, we actually have a tendency to grab. And so my whole approach with drivers isn't to say no really to anything, but rather add this one piece in. I don't care what else you do, but just commit with this one piece with me. And what I've discovered, I've ran a 90-day program a few times over the last few years. So I get to work with drivers consecutively for 90 days where I'm seeing them all the time throughout the week. The one thing I've noticed is by showing them these things that they can add in, automatically they start taking the crap out. Like, I'm not even telling them, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. I'm simply delivering them the information and saying, hey, try this, and letting them decide. And that's a really empowering thing. And I go back to getting into recovery because so much of how I approach health is based on my own experience, in that people tried to help me get well for years. My parents dropped me from therapist to therapist. Like, eventually it was just like, I don't know what to do with her. And I just kept on trying to do everyone's program, follow everyone's thing.
Doesn't work until you decide.
Yeah. But it wasn't until this idea of breaking things down into micro steps and just taking it one day at a time, it really came to life for me that wasn't just a recovery or catastrophic approach. That can also be an approach that we take in every aspect of life.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Ironically, I'm one of the ones that gained weight after I quit driving, but I quit driving because I went through a windshield. So, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I'm here to talk about it. It's all good.
Because that was one of the next questions. It's just when you're working with groups,
how do you deal with it?
how are you able to help each individual within the company that wants help
without being overwhelmed yourself?
Yeah,
or overworked.
Yeah. So one of the things is we do have an app. And so that is a really great way where drivers can kind of self-select and self-serve when it comes to a company level or a CDL school. It's just really group coaching depends on the company, once a week or once a month. Usually once a month is usually kind of where most companies are at. And it's a live Q&A. Ask me anything. I'm here to help you. I usually come with something to the table, that coaching session, to kind of give them, to help motivate them. But really, it's just allowing them to be seen and heard and reinforcing the things that they're doing or not doing that they should start. And I have talked to dozens of trucking companies, especially over the last 2 years, some of the big ones, I won't name their names. And what I've discovered in these conversations is many of them have wellness programs, but drivers aren't using them.
Yeah.
Right.
And I can tell you that's true.
And one of the reasons why, and I'll go to the grave with this, is they're pushing too hard. They're asking them to do too much. They're bribing them with too much stuff. Like, I'm sorry, at some point or another, giving a driver a cooler or a jacket or whatever it is, like, clearly you aren't hitting the mark, because even that isn't motivating them to continue. And why? Because the way you're delivering it is built for an average corporate person.
Right.
Yep.
You're building programs for people that don't live over the road, that aren't isolated, that don't have the restrictions drivers do. And although it's commendable, they're just approaching it all wrong. And I've tried to help some of these companies.
And that's where you come in.
Yeah. But again, the company has to be willing. The wellness coordinator has to be willing.
Yeah.
Sometimes people feel their ego is bruised. And I'm just speaking frankly. I'm not here to take over anyone's job. I truly want every driver to feel like health is accessible to them.
I wish I knew you 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I might still be driving.
Yeah, the health of a company is not based on new Kenworths, is not based on having an extra day of PTO. It's if that driver is not healthy enough to pass their CDL, get in and out of the truck, be on time, sleep a quality night, like, they're not an asset to you. They're a liability, and they are your biggest moneymaker. Why are we not putting more attention on this? Still, it's 2023, people, wake up.
I know. Now, I was in 99. I worked for a flatbed company who's no longer in business on a regional board. And I think I slept in the bunk once in the 11, 12 months that I worked for them. It was 20-minute power naps behind the steering wheel because I had to be to the next stop, come hell or high water. And I'm like, burning the candle at both ends. And eventually when I hit the bunk, I slept for 12 hours.
And see, the company I worked for was a small company. They bought the rig specifically for me. I was blessed. I can't even pretend I wasn't. Took me to the Peterbilt shop to pick it out. But then that's it. He hates that.
This story gets better every time I hear it.
It does not. But then they
friction.
Oh, wait. Story time. Ding.
But then they let me upgrade the mattress, and they let me do the little upgrades to make it more comfortable for me, and little things like that. So it was really nice because they cared. And like I told them, I said, I have to have a good quality seat. And the owner says, well, nobody else has really said this. And he says, well, can I ask why? And I said, yeah, because my father started driving when he was 14 years old, and he's got a bad back. He retired when he was 86. May he rest in peace.
Yes.
But and back then he was still alive, and then I said, my dad still drives, and I don't want to have his back. I still ended up with it for a different reason.
Believe me, Hope, I wish we had a microphone nearby every time he opened his mouth. There was a story behind it. I wish I had recordings because, oh my God.
Yeah.
When I grew up, before I got into trucking, I listened to all the old guys' stories. That's what made me want to be a truck driver.
Love it.
But anyway, so yeah, the owner that I worked for really believed in, listening and paying attention, and, he did the little things, and, it really helped that I woke up one morning and my truck had been, personalized on the outside too, with a caricature of me and my dog and my CB handle, and everybody gave my dog a CB handle too. It was Blondie and the squirrel.
Blondie and the squirrel.
I'm glad that you said that. I'm so glad that you mentioned the seat and the mattress, because although those can be big investments up front, that is preventative medicine, preventative care, and that can save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars of post-care, not to mention time off because of injury, because of a herniated disc, because of neck problems, because of a pulled back muscle. So having that couple of extra dollars to spend up front and just bite the bullet and do it can really save you in the long run. And I think the biggest thing for drivers is when you start with a company, ask.
Yeah.
They may say no, but in that interview process, be like, I want to drive for you, for a long time, and I want to be set up for success. Do you accommodate anything else inside the truck?
Yep.
Would you put money towards a new seat? Maybe you pay part of it.
Right.
You be able to invest in better mattress than the factory one that's like a quarter of an inch thick?
Mhm.
And one of the things I ask for company owners is that, would you want that?
Yeah. No.
I think that's one thing that we forget as humans is like, put yourself in that other person's position. Although they may do it anyways, it's probably because they feel like if they voice up, you're going to say no, and they could lose their job, and they don't want that. And so let's open the conversation and start having these conversations and start treating people on both ends with respect when it comes to health, when it comes to wellness. What if your driver turnover rate drops even by 10%? Like, imagine the cost savings that you'll have with that just by having drivers, a few of them that stick around a few more years because you're treating them
A
with
little
respect.
bit better, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's more than money, because I don't know about where you guys live, but I drive around Wisconsin and I see in front of trucking companies. We live in a trucking town, in a
Right.
manufacturing town, and you see sign-on bonuses anywhere from 5 to 10, some places
Yep.
20K,
Yeah.
and they're still looking for drivers. So here's what my mind thinks. Clearly money isn't working anymore.
Although I have thought about coming out of retirement and signing on with some of these companies
for the
but-
20 grand bonus. It's like, I told
But
him,
I don't know if I
I
could
could
do
live
a
without
year
you
behind
for
the
a-
wheel again.
I told him he could.
That's just it. So trying to say to ourselves, well, what if we treat our drivers a little bit better and then
Yeah.
bonus them on the back end, which they're just going to feel even more appreciative
Right.
of. But it has to start with the driver also respecting themselves.
Well,
And seeing that they're worthy and they're worth it, and that their body, and that they deserve to be healthy. I watched my dad for years beat his body up. He was a sewer pipe layer, the guy 80 feet down in the hole.
Ugh.
And he's
Wow.
now 65 years old. And he'll never tell anybody, but he is disabled. It's difficult for him to get in and up out of the truck, out of his house, out of a chair. He can't stand too long, can't sit too long, can't sleep too long, can't lay too long. Numbness in his hands, numbness in his feet, and he's still ticking. He's doing the best he can, but the number one thing I've seen from him now at 65 years old is, I wish I would have gone back and done things differently.
Yeah.
I wish I would have advocated for myself. I wish I would have just said, oh, rub some dirt in it.
Yeah.
And actually taking care of himself. And now he's paying the price for it and doing the best he can. But it's hard to watch him sometimes. And I don't want anyone to go through that, because I've got a first, row view of what not taking care of your body and what constant repeated,
Yep.
kind of just punishment on your body, going into the same environment, that impact on the seat, constantly driving for 10 hours a day for 5, 10, 15, 20, 50 years is going to wreck your back.
Yes.
And so how can we prevent that, or how can we at least reduce the symptoms so that you can retire eventually and still have a body to celebrate life in?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
So, you say you like tools. Now, are we talking about normal people like them, or Tim the Toolman Taylor like them? Because if you're like the two of us, it is definitely in the Tim the Toolman Taylor's range. I have never been bored when shopping for tools.
So here's what you do. Head on over to 18wheeltalk.com/JBTools. It will take you to their site, which will normally give you a discount, a chance in a giveaway, join the rewards club, or something really great like that.
Then start browsing to your heart's delight. Whether you're looking for power tools, hand tools, 25-ton jack stands, or gardening tools, they have got you covered.
So take a few minutes and follow the link, 18wheeltalk.com/JBTools, and jewel over a few tools while you're there. Well, I retired my last job of 21 years. I worked for a medical waste company. So I drove a truck to the hospital, and then I manually offloaded and loaded. So I drove 2 trucks. I drove the big truck, and then I drove the little hand truck. And after 21 years of doing that, my body's like, hey, enough.
Good thing you listened.
Yeah.
So-
I was like, I got to get out. So then I went back to work I work for the post office now, so I could be abused even more.
Well, and kudos to all those postal workers out there. My aunt was one. She just recently retired about a year ago. That is not an easy job as well. I mean, just doesn't matter what vehicle you drive doing the post office thing. That is incredibly challenging on the body. You're constantly bending funny, leaning funny. There's no good way to do that. And so kudos to all the postal workers out there that are listening.
Trust me, I work on the back end. So it's like it's an easy job, but yet you do a lot of standing. That's why I utilize your
equal problems in itself too.
Right.
So I mean, pick your pick.
Which is why I utilize your stretches.
I'm like, you're saying it's easy, and this is the man that comes back and tells me all the twisting back and forth. And okay,
my first week on the job, I felt like somebody rolled over me with a steamroller. My hips hurt so bad, my knees. I was like,
Standing on concrete is not great for you either.
I'm like, I don't ever remember having this much pain ever in my life. And I used to be a garbage man when I first got into driving. So it's like, I don't ever remember feeling that ache. I mean, I was just like, oh my God, something.
I told him, welcome to adulthood.
Open the Jack Daniels bottle and just pour it down my throat, please.
So I have some more questions here.
Funny.
With all your skills, like core fitness and yoga and Pilates, relaxation and meditation and stress management, and I think the list just keeps going on. Do you have something that's like a go-to that you begin when you're trying to help someone with their health in general? Like when you're working with these companies and someone stands up and says, hey, I got this problem.
3 things. First thing is posture.
Okay.
Because if you don't fix your posture, everything you're doing is just going to enhance the posture that you currently have.
Okay.
So that hunched over, shoulders forward, head forward. If now you're going to go and work out, but you're not self-aware that your posture is crappy, you're just going to keep working out and improving, quote unquote, with that crappy posture. And if the instructor doesn't understand the body, they're not catching that because they're just obsessed with the memorized exercises they saw in the book that they learned, that they're not even keen to that. So first thing first is we got to fix our posture. If you're a driver listening, use the seat, sit up straight.
Right.
With the bottom part of your back of your head, that's called your occipital bone, just kind of lean back and find the headrest. Now, I'm not saying drive like that all day because it's going to be awkward, but ever so many hours, maybe set an alarm every hour or 45 minutes, have an alarm go off that's different than your wake up alarm. Okay. Trigger different patterns of the brain, and just recheck back in. See if the backs of your shoulders can touch the back of your seat. Just open up your chest. I believe in today's country, in America especially, maybe we don't have a mental health issue as much as we have a movement issue. Because hear me out. When you exercise, when you move, you boost oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine, neurotransmitters in the brain immediately. And isn't it interesting that most people that are struggling with depression and anxiety and addiction also do not live a very active lifestyle equally as much? True. When you are depressed, when you feel lonely, when you feel sadness, what do? We hunch forward, we hide our heart, we hide our chest. Now you can't breathe.
As you're talking about it, I hunch forward.
So now I'm anxious because I can't breathe deeply. Now I have anxiety 24/7. So posture is one of them. When we sit upright, when we stand upright, we open our chest, we deepen our breath, we immediately boost good endorphins and all that good chemicals into our brain. And we're kind of getting 2 for 1 here in that we're lowering stress. We're improving posture, using muscles we normally don't use. When it comes to digestion, it's really hard for your organs to do what they're supposed to do when you're crunching down on them. Mm-hmm. So just the art of sitting upright can allow all of your digestive system to do what it's supposed to do. So posture is 1, breathing is 2. When is the last time you took a deep breath and you were aware of it? That you breathed in through your nose and your belly expanded and you took a deep breath out and your belly contracted, and you did that 2 or 3 or 4 times in a row and you paid attention to your breathing.
My lungs.
Well, I do it I do it daily. So
when I did,
that's true, but most people don't.
When I did that, my lungs were like, "Whoa, time out."
And so we forget though that our lungs are a muscle.
Yes.
And so when you breathe, you are working your muscles. I worked in a nursing home, like I was telling you, and a lot of the men and women there, the PT would come around with a little device and they'd have to blow in it. Why? To strengthen their lungs. Because if your lungs aren't strong, those are muscles, you're not pumping oxygen to the brain and to the body.
Yep.
And so teaching drivers how to deep breathe has a mental effect that goes far beyond just taking a deep breath in the moment.
Yes.
When I was able to step out of addiction and depression and anxiety, I did it medication free. I'm not advocating everyone do that, but I leaned on the practices of yoga, like breathing, like mindfulness, like improving posture, moving my body. And over time, that really allowed me to step into a new space. So first is posture, second is breathing, and the third one is to drink 1 bottle of water every single morning before you get out of bed. What I mean by that is the night before, put a bottle of water or a cup of water on your nightstand. If you're in your truck, stick a bottle of water or your travel thermos right by your bed. And when you sit up and your feet hit the ground, I do this every single morning, no matter where I am. I pick up my water bottle and I just chug. So you got to do it before your mind thinks about it. And it's the perfect time to do it in the morning. And drivers will say, well, I'm going to have to pee. I'm like, no. This is where I've thought about this all. I had this all planned out. If you drink that bottle of water right away when you wake up, by the time you go to the bathroom, do your pre-trip check, get dressed, get breakfast, you're going to have to go to the bathroom again. And then you get to go out on the road and do your thing. And if that's the only water you drink all day, you have jump-started your system in a way that you have never before. Dehydration is also directly linked to depression and anxiety. It is linked to people with back pain, muscle cramps, muscle aches, digestive issues. So what if you don't have those problems at all? You're just dehydrated.
Never thought about that. So
Well,
I have a personal question about that.
Go ahead. You go ahead. I was gonna say something funny.
Then you can say something funny. Every night when we go to bed, I put a bottle of water on each of our nightstands. Every morning when I wake up, because I wake up frequently, I just always have, my bottle of water is empty already.
She's a night drinker.
I'm a night drinker.
Well, usually, like if you go to like a baseball game or something, the beer guy's saying, dehydrate now, hydrate later. He's selling beer and water.
Yeah.
That's why I keep water by the bed. I dehydrate at night and then hydrate in the morning.
What my question was, do I need to keep 2 bottles of water on my side?
Well, one, I would ask myself, am I thirsty when I wake up in the middle of the night? Because if I am, you're going to bed dehydrated. If once you're thirsty, your body has already been dehydrated for several hours. And so that feeling of thirst is like your body's natural alarm system saying, hey, things aren't good. And most Americans are dehydrated. Yeah. A lot of our issues, dry eyes, brain fog, stomach upset, can actually be resolved by hydrating more frequently during the day. And so maybe try to shift your water drinking a little bit. The other part is try adding something to your water, a little bit of sea salt or a little bit of lemon. Most of the time, if your water is like pure, clean water, you use reverse osmosis water or something like that. That water is actually not attaching and bonding to your cells. It's cleansing. So you want something in your water for your cells to attach to. And that's like a whole nother conversation. But so really looking at what you're drinking is really important. So for drivers, I recommend to them, take your water bottle, just travel with a little sea salt shaker, 1 shake in there. And, if you want to squeeze lemon in there, great, that's awesome, but you don't have to, but just a little shake gives you also all the trace minerals that you need for the day, which is a whole nother thing when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to health. But I would consider myself, if I'm thirsty at night, I'm waking up and I'm drinking in the middle of the night, I didn't drink enough water during the day.
See, I think it's just a habit for me.
Sure.
Because I still drink about 6 bottles of water a day, and this isn't juice or anything. This is what's that stuff called? That's the brain injury kicking in.
Crystal Light.
Crystal Light.
Oh, okay.
I don't drink sugary drinks. I drink Crystal Light.
Right.
So that's what that is. But I drink that, and then I drink like a cup of coffee in the morning, and then I switch to water. So, but
even in the morning, you want to jumpstart your system.
Yeah, I grab a bottle of water out of the So
you want to cleanse your system. You want to start fresh. I'm not against coffee. I like a cup of coffee in the morning as well, but I don't want coffee to be the first thing that I'm drinking in the morning. I want that water to be the first thing that goes into my body and kind of sets everything for the day and gets me going. And when I hear from drivers, I don't like water. Well, I don't like chemotherapy. I don't like
yeah, I
I
get
don't
up
like
and
surgery.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like a lot of things.
Yeah, I
you
don't
know?
like
So I'm
stubbing my
just-
toes.
Yeah.
I get up and get another bottle of water out of the fridge, and then I drink that while I feed our dogs and take care of them, because
Awesome.
that's a whole half-hour walk and then a half hour to feed them and get their day going too. Because
Love it. That's a perfect example of just
Yeah.
trying to be more active and move. And for drivers that travel with pets, I think dogs are great in the fact that if you get out and you walk them, you get out and you exercise them because it forces you to exercise.
Yep.
Okay, funny story though. So I'm at this truck stop,
Ding,
right?
story time.
I used to travel around it and go to TA truck stops. And I'm at this truck stop and I'm like, what is going on? And I like look down the hill. Honest to God, I should have took a picture. It was a truck driver with his, I think it was like 2 or 3 dogs and his pet pig. He had a pig in his
What? I believe it.
a large, like it wasn't like a cute little piglet. This was like, how the heck did that pig get in the truck? Like, I like just about lost it. I was like, I'm accepting. I love animals. I have chickens. Like we've raised lamb before. Like I have dogs. A pig in your truck.
But the what are the small pigs that everybody thinks are so cute?
Potbelly?
Potbelly pigs get to be a couple hundred pounds, and people don't realize that.
Yeah, that was definitely a couple hundred pounds.
I bet it was cute when it was little.
Yeah, and because people adopt them or they give them as gifts because they're so cute and tiny, but they don't realize this is going to get to be a potbelly pig is a pig. It's going to get to be a couple hundred pounds. They don't realize that.
I don't think I'm fully expressing how large this pig was. I mean,
It wasn't stretching.
for all of you listeners out there, if you travel with a pig in your truck, please send Patrick and Janet a photo.
Oh, yeah,
so that they
I
can
wanna
share it.
see that.
Yeah, I want to see this.
Or if you find someone traveling with a pig, we want to see it.
Yeah, you can send it to the hosts at 18wheeltalk.com.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Driver, if you haven't tried any of Mother Trucker Yoga's products, have we got news for you. The news is you are missing out on some great products that really do work. So, you're probably sore from a long day and just don't know where to even start looking, right?
Well, driver, stop right there. You don't have to wonder anymore. These products were all designed with the professional truck driver in mind. And the Stiff Mother Trucker Pain Relief Cream is 100% natural. As in, all the junk that you don't need on your body is not in it. It is paraben-free, gluten-free, sulfate-free, and artificial dye-free.
Probably made right here in the USA. Road tested, trucker approved.
It relieves sore muscles, soothes pain and inflammation from bee stings and insect bites. It calms that back pain from driving those long, hard roads, helps alleviate foot pain, helps reduce wrist pain, elbow pain, and stiffness in the neck and shoulders from poor sleep or overuse.
In other words, if your body is feeling bruised and bumped up from that ever-intensive truck driver life, then Stiff Mother Trucker Pain Relief Cream is the answer to what you are asking. Just ask the crew at A&E Shipping Wars. They will let you know.
So go to 18wheeltalk.com/resources and look for Mother Trucker Yoga to find this and many more great products. Yeah, I had a girlfriend that traveled with 3 basset hounds, and she was 5 foot tall flat, and she traveled with 3 basset hounds. She used to pick them up. 3. She used to pick them up and put them in the truck, and then finally I was talking to her one day, and I'm like, I was doing some remodeling for her, and I said, why don't I just build you a ramp that can like extend and they can just climb up in? And so I built her an extendable ramp that just, she'd open the passenger door, slide the ramp out, and the dogs would climb up and down. I said, you're going to save yourself a lot of back pain in the future.
Oh, 100%. Well, and traveling with pets on the idea of health, having dogs, research does show, people that have dogs do live longer. They are less depressed. They do have less anxiety. They do sleep better. And so, I'm a big fan. When I see drivers with dogs, I'm like, hey, like, and I kudos to you. They're happy, they have something to care for. We as humans, we're pack animals, so having to care for something gives us purpose. I love when drivers have pets with them. It just gets a little weird for me when I see animals that I would not think probably should be in a truck. No,
I knew a guy that had a parrot in his truck.
There was a guy that I met that had a snake. And he's like, do you want to see it? I was like, hell no, I do not want to.
Oh, I'd be like, show me the baby.
No.
It's like I had snakes growing up, so it's I had 2 of them, and they were.
I'll take your word for it.
They're not that bad, but yeah, they can be a handful.
I'd be sleeping with one eye open, being like, where are you, buddy?
Well, what the female did escape. It was a 2-foot by 4-foot screened in cage, and my female boa constrictor
ate her husband.
Managed to squeeze through a hole about this big in the cage and wrap herself around the cable box and wires because it was warm. I'm like, really? You gotta be kidding! It took me and a buddy of mine like almost an hour to untangle her. I was like, because she was 8.5 feet long, and she wrapped herself around. No, I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Nope.
And then all I did was I put a piece of duct tape over the hole. She wouldn't go near it because she every time she pushed on it, she got stuck to it. She was like, nope, I don't want nothing to do with that.
Oh my gosh.
So now I have one more question.
Shoot.
Now I was in my research, I came across that you're trying to where did I put it? Where million driver you want to do the million drivers by 2031, I believe.
Yep.
And I was just wanted to know whereabouts are you in your quest?
I'm so glad that you asked.
We do our research.
I know. I like this.
Tough
In the
questions.
quest to help 1 million drivers change lanes in their health and fitness with small, simple changes by 2031, we have impacted, helped directly, indirectly through companies, through we've have a lot of channels of outreach. Roughly about 200,000 drivers.
Wow. I was wondering how you track that.
Yeah, and climbing. We have a couple different metrics that we follow. One is through our platform, and through some of our partners and how we outreach. We're able to track some of those stats.
And that was how many again?
200,000.
We're at about 200,000 right now.
200,000. Are you still on?
That does not. So people sometimes hear that, and that does not mean that those are 200,000 drivers that have come through our program, because I believe whether or not drivers work with me, I'm going to help them.
Right.
I'm going to give them the resources.
Yeah. I agree.
Even people that listen to our podcast will take something away from it.
Absolutely.
People
I hope
that
they do.
see you on social media or listen to a snippet of your podcast or
sign up
or
for your
LinkedIn,
emails, because
they're
your
gonna
emails
gather
are
something from
very, very intuitive.
Thank you.
So.
And we do write all of our own stuff, by the way. We do not use AI at Mother Trucker Yoga.
Kudos. I don't think there's a lot of us left.
In today's world, I don't know about you guys, but I look at stuff and I'm always like, is that them, or is this something that wrote this for them? And I have a theory. In 2 years or so, maybe sooner than that, everyone is going to start sounding very similar. Because nobody is thinking for themselves anymore.
Yeah.
Part of what I believe we've done so well with Mother Trucker Yoga is because, yes, I am taking all the research, all the things that I've learned, but I'm packaging in the Hope Zvara package.
Yes.
You can't AI your perspective onto things.
Right.
And that's the one thing on the business side of life that really irks me right now is everyone's like, AI. And I'm like, wow, all that tells me is that you can't think for yourself.
Yep, I agree. All the research and the notes and the podcast, that's all my research, all my notes.
Now,
absolutely.
I've used AI. I've typed in some random questions just to see what comes out for ideas.
Yeah.
And then we've taken those ideas and put our own spin on those ideas.
100%. And I think that is a great leverage of AI. Or if you're like, I just want to find some bullets of topics that then I can go and do my own thing with.
Yeah, but that's what he's talking about. Yeah,
that's exactly how I use AI.
Yeah, when you start using that as your voice,
no,
I feel like that is deceiving. I feel like that is inauthentic as a creator. I pride myself on the 20 plus years in my industry,
Yep.
building my craft and doing the work and showing up. And so I do get a little salty when I see people come in, and I'm just like, seriously,
It's like,
like
really?
do the work, do
Yeah,
the work.
I know.
I like working smarter, not harder, but not if it's the sacrificial point of where's you in the process.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
Patrick and Janet can't be replicated. This conversation can't be replicated.
No.
But it came with facts and knowledge that all three of us have collected over the years. Like, if you don't come with that base of knowledge, like AI can't fix that. Like AI can't create this conversation.
Right.
And I think we're going to start to see that in a few years when people that are saying that they're all of these things come into real live experiences like this continuously over time and can't hang. Those people are going to be shook loose really fast.
I hope so.
We've been often imitated, never duplicated.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
There are people out there that try to imitate what we do, but
Honey, you're
it's
speaking
not-
to the choir right
it's
here.
not us. Sorry.
Yep.
Your audio sucks.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into I'm not going to criticize.
Okay, so let's get past them, and I do have another question.
If you got time.
This is just we have like two more questions really.
Yeah, shoot.
The next one would be if you have a say you have a newer company and they've got a lot of new drivers. Say the new drivers at a trucking school, they're like, well, what advice can you give even through your app for new drivers nutritionally? Does your app have nutritional stuff on it? I wasn't positive
absolutely.
on that one.
So if you know anything about branding, you don't market yourself to be the expert at everything because it waters down. I focus a lot on mobility, fitness, practical movement, but on the backside, we're delivering our drivers mindset stuff, sleep things, nutrition, and we base a lot of our nutrition on foundational building. And so that's how to read food labels. A big part of what we're teaching our drivers is forget the nutrition panel, look down at the ingredients.
Yeah.
Because if your product is made with crap ingredients, it don't matter that it's fat-free, 20 grams of protein, whatever, high fiber. If it came from not real stuff, it doesn't matter what that is. And so trying to educate drivers on what real food is, educate drivers on portions, how and when to eat things based on our natural circadian rhythm, and just things that are foundational. It doesn't matter who or where you are, don't change in the human body. Yes. And, people all have different allergies and health issues. I do. And so
I have to read labels.
Yeah.
Yeah, but giving them a baseline of knowledge to empower them to make healthy choices, I think is really the big shift, that they can go to a truck stop. We talk a lot about fast food and ordering off menu and how to create your own meals when you are stuck with an Arby's for the 9th time in a row. Or if you see another Subway, you're going to bang your head against the wall. Well, let's make it work for you.
Quit drooling, Patrick.
Yeah, and let's do the best that we can with what we have. And so I try to teach them a lot about what it looks like to order off menu, or even to order from fast food places for you to cook on the truck. A lot of people don't realize this. If you go to a fast food restaurant and say, hey, do you have this X amount of meat, or can I buy chicken from you before it's cooked? A lot of restaurants will do that.
Yeah.
But drivers don't know that. And so trying to teach them about these things is really life-changing. I've seen drivers going from never cooking a day in the life on their truck and now cooking all the time, to never eating a salad, to now, eating greens every single day, to never reading food labels, to going in home and teaching their wife and kids how to do it. It's exciting because for the first time in many years, for a lot of the drivers I work with, they feel like their health is in their hands. That is one of the most exciting and empowering things in life, when you feel like finally you have control over something. Because for a lot of drivers, their loads are determined by their broker or their company. They're told when to go and where, if they're late, or they're docked, if they can't, everything is restricted.
Yes.
And for the first time ever, they're empowered to make choices on their own, that they see the results. And my friends, that is the most exciting thing to watch.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
I didn't realize how much freedom I had driving 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It's like I had no clue when I was over the road it was that I had that much freedom. I did, but it's just like I just loved driving. Loved my job, my life, the whole bit. So
Love it.
So when a driver comes to you and says, I'm interested in signing up, through your app, or, the program,
Yep.
and they ask you, how long before I start feeling a little better, maybe sleeping better, or even starting to lose actual weight, not just water weight? How do you reply to that?
Absolutely. First things first, I believe that weight loss is a side effect to another issue.
Right.
So if weight gain was the problem, we all wouldn't be struggling where we are. Most of the time, weight gain is a subsidiary to another issue.
Mm-hmm.
And so at Mother Trucker Yoga, you will never see me advertising 10-pound takedown or,
I've noticed that.
weight in
Yes.
2 weeks. You will never hear those words come out of my mouth. I will never advocate for that. I believe it's very bait and switch advertising. You are dropping to the lowest common denominator to try to lure people in.
Yep.
And most of the time, those people that follow those programs, they gain that weight back and then some.
Right.
Statistically,
Yes.
more than half of them do.
Right.
And I just don't believe that that is the pathway to health. And so what I do tell drivers is most of the time within 2 to 6 weeks, you are going to have more mobility.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have less pain getting in and out of your truck. You are going to have more clarity and focus while you're driving.
Okay.
And for some drivers, you may notice that you are staying asleep longer. I'm not saying sleeping through the night because there's a lot of factors that go into that.
Yeah.
It's anything from internal health factors to external environment. But having a better quality of sleep or a longer period of sleep while you are sleeping or while you're
so
on
instead of 4 hours, you might get 5. Instead of 5 hours, you might get 6.
or you're waking up more rested,
Right.
even with the same amount of sleep. And I mean, if we just think about health for a moment in a very basic thing, like I have a cup here, if you pour your cup and fill it with water all the way to the top in the morning, and that's like the symbolization of your body. And if you don't do very much of anything throughout the day, maybe a couple drops empty, and then you go to bed at night, well, when you sleep, your body is resting and restoring and resting and digesting. Your organs are cleaning itself. Your muscles are repairing. Your brain is restoring. Like these are things scientifically all of our bodies are doing. No one's exempt from that.
Yep.
But if we're not emptying our cup throughout the day and we go to bed at night, no wonder you're tossing and turning. No wonder you're restless. No wonder you're waking up feeling crappy because your body was not able to do what it's supposed to do. So what if during the day, we just try to exert ourselves a little bit more? That's where the driver's seat exercises come in. That's where doing things more throughout the day come in. So we can empty more of the water out of the glass. So when you go to bed at night, I don't know about you guys, but after I've really done a lot during the day, I lay in my bed and I'm like, oh, and I just fall asleep. For a lot of people, they're not exerting themselves enough. And I'm not saying go out and kill yourself and run 20 miles. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying if you don't mentally and physically empty your cup, your sleep is going to be crappy. And most of us are going to bed and we're mentally drained because we're overstimulated, but we're not physically emptied our cup. So that's a big thing that I talk about with drivers is the ratio is off. For many of us, not just truck drivers, just like Americans in general,
Right.
We're way too overstimulated. So we feel mentally exhausted, but physically we've done jack shit all day. Excuse me. And so
We're explicit. It's okay. You can do
the
that.
cycle is off. And so for some people listening, they might be like, oh, that's so amateur. Really? Because all this other fancy stuff that people are trying to push and promote isn't working. Let's go back to the basics.
Yeah,
Let's go back to looking at our body like the simple equation that it is.
Yeah, see, I was always told that I don't go to sleep and wake up like a normal person. I die and come back to life.
And I could set a record for falling asleep the fastest.
Oh, yeah. Like she'll be like, hey, I'm going to bed. All right, I'll be right there. I get a text message saying, hey, I'm in bed. By the time I walk from here to there, she's out.
Well, and for some people,
like somebody turned the light switch off.
some people, when they go to bed at night, they can't mentally shut off. Well, then that's where like breathing exercises, meditation can come in to help kind of shift your mind away from those thoughts.
Yeah,
But
I'll usually do like some deep breaths.
Yeah,
and
but also,
that'll usually shut me down.
physical movement is another way for you to shed those thoughts and be able to shift yourself out of that like fight or flight state that so many of us are living in as thinking it's normal. I
Quit
experienced
thinking
that
about
over and
work,
over
Patrick.
again. Yeah.
Oh.
So what are you doing throughout the
What?
day? Shift your mind.
He's doing this.
Yeah, I work 8 hours. I work 8 hours, and then I come home and I work. I feel like I work another 8 hours on this.
Most of
just
the time he does.
promoting, and because we do all this ourselves.
Yeah.
It's like
Same here.
it's like
People always laugh when they find out. They're like, "Oh, your team." I'm like, "What do you mean by team?"
what team?
He's
You mean
IT.
we can have a team?
He's IT. I'm research and
Oh
design.
my gosh!
Hey, I
too
make
funny.
sure everything works right, and even I screw it up. There's been times where we've done an interview and had no audio, but luckily I was using two different things
Sets.
to record, so I have the video, and then I got to match the audio, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Oh, that's always fun when your mouth is moving and the words are not quite right. Oh
Well,
my
we
god!
were really lucky. The one that did that the worst was his brother,
Oh my goodness!
and he was in town, so we just redid it.
I just re-recorded. I said, "Hey man, forgive me.
Take two.
I'm a third shift truck driver." He goes, "I know."
It was all good.
Great, it's great. I love it.
Anything else you want to add, darling?
Yes. I got to find my spot in my notes.
Oh no, she's lost.
I'm lost.
I bounced around.
Yeah.
I have a tendency to do that. She gives me a list of notes and she says, "Let's go down the list," and then I always skip.
Yeah, that's all right. I love
That's all good.
conversations like this.
Oh, with all the questions and everything on your social media and everything on your website, what can you tell us that isn't on there about mother trucking yoga
or hope.
or about hope that isn't on all of this that we've talked about?
Yeah, what's that one thing that nobody knows about?
One
you?
thing.
But nobody knows about
Yeah, come on. Well, I mean,
no.
aside from social media and your media kit and your website, what is that? Just one thing that you'd like to share with an audience that says, "Hey, you may not know this about me, but hey, you know what? This is hope."
All right. I'm just a small town country girl. Like I'm just like you. And although I may be growing a company to create world domination,
Hey, you know what?
I'm just a simple girl. I live in a simple house with a simple family. I live very modestly. I have a car or vehicle how old is my Pilot? 2013, because I like things that are paid off. And
Amen.
so my kids, they go to our local school, and we go camping, and we go and drive 4-wheelers and do a lot of stuff. Like I'm not living a flashy life.
You're not a movie star?
No, and I don't think I ever will be. And although I'm growing a business, and outside of Mother Trucker Yoga, I do a lot of speaking and a lot of teaching in the business world on branding, on speaking, on how to grow your company, like kind of an organic company. And I'm kind of growing that as well. At the end of the day, I'm just a simple person, and I just live in a simple life. I believe in loyalty. I believe in transparency. I believe in authenticity. Those are my core values that I bring into everything. What you see is what you get. I will never try to be someone I'm not. I will never try to pretend I'm something that I don't want to be or other people are. I think for a lot of people that know me and see me and speak to me for the first time, you'll see that my values and the things I stand for, I don't waver on. Some people call me blunt. Some people call me very direct.
I like it.
And that's because I don't like bullshit. I don't like fakeness. I have a radar for it. And
Yep.
I feel like when people meet me for the first time, those are the qualities I want them to walk away remembering, whether they work with me or not, is that she was exactly who I thought she would be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
that's
that
what we-
to
that's
me
what
is
we're
the
like.
most important thing. And the most important thing I want people to know is I'm not fake. I'm not a truck driver. I never claimed to be, but I understand the body. I understand blue collar workers. I understand the need that's there. And I have been fortunate enough now where I have a lot of drivers that are great friends of mine. And I want to make a difference in this industry. And I intend on doing that. But that will never be at the sacrifice of who I am and what I stand
Good.
for.
That's good.
That's why we revamped to where we're at now. We're plain and simple. We're two retired truck drivers. We have old school wisdom, and we're trying to share that with the new school.
I like that.
We're trying to share our old school wisdom with the new driving generation, and to let them know, hey, look, can you make a living at truck driving? You can. Is it difficult? Yes. We're just trying to tell you what we went through so that you don't live the life that we did, because it is ever changing.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. As all things are in life.
Yep.
I'll leave you with this. I would say 6 months into starting Mother Trucker Yoga, I met someone at a truck show and I thought, oh my gosh, like we hit the jackpot. He was in insurance. He's like, I love your company. I love what you're doing. Your platform is great. We talked on and off after that truck show for a couple of weeks. I think even more than that, maybe a month or two. And then finally he drops a bomb on me and says, so I love everything you're doing and I want to work with you, but you have to change your name. I think it's an awful name. No one will ever want to do business with someone with a name like Mother Trucker Yoga. You need to change it or we don't want to do business.
I'm sorry.
And
any truck driver out there would giggle at the name.
I know
sorry.
my industry. I'm a punny girl. I love sarcasm and that conversation. I said, this conversation is over. I'm going to prove you wrong. When people tell me no, my inner tendency is to just be like the middle finger and be like, oh, I'm going to show you and prove you better. And interesting enough, time goes by. A year ago, I met him at a different truck stop and a trucking friend of mine, a well-known one, goes, oh my gosh, Hope. He pulls me over after he got done playing a set at a truck show. And he's like, I want to introduce you to someone. And he goes, she's a big deal. She is like my idol. He's talking me up. And I come around the corner and I lock eyes with this guy.
And you went, oh, hell no.
And he goes, oh, and I go, no, do not talk. I know who you are. You do not need to introduce yourself. You told me something 5 years ago. You told me that I would never make it. I would never be able to move forward in the industry. My business name was awful and it was never going to work. Well, I just want to let you know that I'm one of the leaders in the industry now for health and wellness. I have a company that is thriving. And last time I checked, somebody just introduced me to you like you need me and I don't need you. And I walked away.
when you came around the corner.
That was so satisfying.
Yep.
So great. And I think the message is this: never, ever change for somebody else.
Yep.
I agree. You came around that corner and heard a bell go off like, all right, man, let's go.
The words just came out. It was just I couldn't stop talking. But never change for someone else. If you believe in your core that you deserve better, go out and find it. If you believe that you can improve your health, go out and align yourself with a company or somebody that can help you get there. If you believe you're sick and tired of being sick and tired and that the people around you are toxic, say goodbye to them. You owe them nothing. Nobody can determine your future except for you. And I look back and think of all the things that I've been faced with and challenges in business and personal have always been because somebody challenged me, who I was, what I stood for, how I was going to do it if I would follow through. And you know what I say to those people? I say, thank you. Because I would have not pushed as hard. I would have not gone as far. I would have not dug as deep if someone wouldn't have challenged me and said, do you want it like you say you do? And so for those of you listening today, if you're questioning your health, if you're on the line of, I might not pass my DOT, a medical examination, or, my wife or my husband is always on me about my health, this is your push.
Yep.
This is your push right now listening to this podcast, because without your health, what else do you have?
Nothing.
Yeah. Definitely agree with your attitude, because we are both definitely here. Hold my beer and watch this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All day long.
All day. Oh, yeah? Hey, hold this. Watch what I could do.
Yeah. Has a lot to do with why we were friends for so long before we became a couple.
I might get hurt, so have 911 available.
911. 911. Just open my mouth and pour it in for me, please. Okay?
Yes, please.
If I don't wake up, then call 911.
Yeah, then call. Tick on my foot and see if I move.
Yeah, put a pug on me, and if the pug can't wake me, it's an emergency.
I love it.
Hope, how can people get a hold of you, Hope, if they want to get a hold of you?
Absolutely. You can find us on social, Mother Trucker Yoga. We got all our website links on there and our product info. That's the easiest way.
I got your website on our little ticker bar across the bottom. So if you're watching the video, go check out mothertruckeryoga.com. You won't be disappointed. Hey, honey, I know you didn't want, I know we didn't talk about it, but I want to give away one of Hope's books.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. You know what? Let's do 5. Let's do 5 books.
Okay.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right. Email us at thehosts@atl 18wheeltalk.com. If you want to get a hold of the trucking yoga book, let us know. We're going to give away 5 of them.
Awesome.
Because I think I believe in what Hope is I like to say I believe in what Hope's shucking. Being you're from Wisconsin, you know.
I love it.
I'll Hope it's been amazing to talk to you. I'm so glad that you came on our show, and I hope everybody took something from this.
Oh my gosh, you two have been
baby
an absolute
steps.
delight.
Baby
Absolute
steps.
delight.
Been great. Thank you so much.
Hang tight
All
for a
right.
second.
Okay, thanks so much.
All right, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
18 Wheel Talk. Thank you for joining us today. We greatly appreciate it. Be sure to stop by 18wheeltalk.com and check out all the affiliates mentioned in the program today. Remember, we're here coaching generations of drivers while guiding them on their path to success. We'll catch you on the flip side.
Sparked a revolution.
So tell me, do you have one of those change buckets in your vehicle for fancy cafes?
Yeah.
And are you looking for a way to help support the show and just don't know how?
Well, we have great news for you. It is super easy, and you can do it for as little as $3 a month. Yes, that's right, $3 a month. That means for the cost of a cup of coffee, you could support the show for a month. And if you order one of those foo-foo frappy thingamabobs with all those flavors and whipped cream and sprinkles on top, you could support the show for about 6 months.
Isn't that amazing? Saving you calories from that frappy thingamabob with all those flavors and whipped cream and sprinkled things on top, and help out the show. What's not to like about that?
So to do so, just go to 18wheeltalk.com/support, and you will see just how easy it is to support the show. And don't forget to pick out your fan emoji while you're there. That's 18wheeltalk.com/support.